We all have one of those moments in life where it changes us and we never look back because of this change. For me, it was a really bad addiction to cigarettes. Besides everything else in life, college, school, personal life, relationships, finances, it's one of those things that just stuck around throughout everything. And it's not really the greatest thing to have, of course, because we all know, it's the worst thing you could do for your own body, especially when it's trying to heal itself. And you get to the point where you just don't know what to do because you're just so far in that you feel like you're a little hopeless. This is my story. This is my life. So when it came to it, it's kind of sad in a sense, but I know a lot of us started out pretty young, if we even did catch on to it. I kind of started smoking cigarettes, unfortunately, when I was about 9 to 10 years old. It was like ran a little bit of phase. I don't remember exactly because I was so young. But it was one of those things where it came down to like peer pressure. Of course, when it came down to friends, it was a cool thing to do. But then, of course, you get latched on. That's not so cool. Of course, trying to hide it away from your parents, or if they're smokers themselves, then it's kind of unfortunate if you kept up with, such a bad lifestyle with cigarettes. So, for me personally, I've been smoking, well, I was still smoking for the past close to about 10 years. With that being said, I'm glad I'm completely off cigarettes. I'm not off nicotine, but that's not the end of the world. Just like everybody else has some sort of niche that they're kind of stuck with, whether it's caffeine, nicotine. You think about it, people always have some weird niches where they have to choose sunflower seeds, gum, toothpicks, you name it. But I'm proud to say I've been clean for close to about 4 years now. To be exact, I actually quit smoking cigarettes in February of 2011. Don't remember the exact date because, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to say because beforehand, I'm not going to lie to a lot of you guys that are listening. It was kind of hard. It was really, really hard. But it was a good struggle. We all had to face through it in some time, whether it be through family, friends. It was something I'm glad that I'm completely done with, just because these 4 past years of my life have changed quite tremendously. Besides finishing school and all the other stuff, getting my bachelor's in engineering. It's kind of funny how this stuff actually changes your lifestyle. Because, to tell you a little bit of background for me, having a heavy engineering background, I was working in the field for a little bit. And for me, I didn't get that much time off. I was working close to anywhere from about 60 to 80 hours a week. But it was extremely stressful, and being about a pack and a half, sometimes 2 packs a day of Newport menthols really wasn't the cheapest thing, nor was it really the healthiest thing at all. But it's kind of funny, when it came to vaping, I would never really imagine it to be where it is now, because when I first started off, it was the Cigalite ones, that pretty much are the ones that, just like it sounds like the ones that actually look like a cigarette. And God, they were awful, but they offered the nicotine and everything I needed, but as well, it was just way too strong. So I would kind of double dipped her a little bit when it came down to it. And what I mean by that, of course, I was using, cigarettes and vaping at the same time. But, of course, there wasn't any studies or anything like that. It was just a huge taboo. E-cigarettes. When it came to it, I couldn't do it cleanly, unfortunately. Not like a lot of people do now, where they're easy just go into a brick and mortar store and online, whatever. And then, of course, just buy like a quick starter kit and work for something like that. It never did work for me. And that'd be a blatant lie if I did say that. But for something like this, I'm glad where the industry is going now, just because I left a full-time career to work in this industry. Some of you guys are probably looking at me like I'm nuts, and why would I hell would ever do that? It's because I'm very passionate in this industry. I'm very passionate about vaping. And why do I say that, personally speaking? Because my grandfather, unfortunately, when I was a child, passed away very early. I didn't really get to know him more than a few, or my early years of pretty much my life. I never really got to know him, unfortunately. I heard he was a great man, took care of my family, but I never got a chance to. Now, of course, with my father, he kind of passed on bad habits, but when it came down to it, I mean, he was still smoking when I was young, but he eventually quit because he had conditions which forced him to. But in many cases, a lot of us are facing that, and I don't like seeing people going through that much pain and torture, losing family over something we could avoid pretty easily. Well, not really easily, but we could avoid as an alternative. The reason why I say that is because it took me about a couple months, I'd say about 3 or 4 months, to fully get away from double dipping between vaping and cigarettes. But in a sense, I'm kind of glad that I didn't push myself too forward with it, because I was using 48 milligrams when I first started. Some of you guys are saying that just like that's a lot. It is a lot now, but when you consider something that was inside of a cartomizer back then, and the starter kits were, a couple $100 from overseas in China, didn't have a brand name that you never know of any sort, you didn't have any warranties. It's kind of hard, getting into that scene at that time. But it's funny how working in the industry now, even in a full-time career, which gave me a lot of benefits, a lot of options, a lot of opportunity to succeed. It's funny going into the vaping industry, pretty much seeing the same exact thing, but I feel a lot better being able to help everybody face to face, see the struggles of everybody, and be able to give them an alternative, a different lifestyle, their families back. And what I mean by that is, you'd be surprised. I mean, I always say this a lot with our customers and friends, but as soon as you quit smoking cigarettes completely, you start changing quite a bit. Besides your body healing and getting rid of everything else that's nasty in there, I mean, you don't stink, you don't smell like it constantly everywhere you go. We're around friends that actually don't even smoke cigarettes, or even parents. I mean, it's unpleasing. It's almost like disrespectful in a sense when you smell like that a lot. So, being that said, it's really hard to quit smoking, I understand. But from my personal experience, I mean, from a couple shops starting out, getting me up and running, I'm glad I'm where I am right now with Liberty Vapor. It's been a long, long path of staying away from cigarettes. I mean, even especially if you're still using nicotine, I can understand it's a little bit hard once every while that you get the itch to get back to a cigarette. But this is my personal message to every one of you guys that are listening to this. Stay strong. Stick with it. If anything, contact me personally at kevin@libertyvapor.net. I can help you with anything you need. I know it's kind of risky that I gave you guys my personal information like that, but I believe in anybody that wants to quit smoking can absolutely do so, and I'm here to back it up. Once again, my name is Kevin Wynn, or Kevin Nugent, as I call myself, and I am Liberty Vapor.